Hello guys, how are you? Thank you for being here. Here it is, the part number 3, Romanov stories and people who were connected to the last years of the Russian royal family Romanov. One of them was Grigory Rasputin, that was at that period the biggest influencer of this so isolated family. And he literally stayed some years living with them and being a personal advisor. So here it is. That's why I added the Grigory Rasputin story to a Romanov story as well. You're going to see till the last days of the Rasputin. Was that the Romanov family involved in this act of his death? So there are two reasons for putting him in part 3 for Romanov stories. So here it is, guys. Don't forget to hit them. If you like this material, do check out the part Romanov part 1 and 2. It's already there attached in this live stream, and it will be attached under the video as well in the description. And as well, share, hit the like, share with your community. Let me share now. I'm going to tweet it for a second. And the new guests, if you like material, check all album Justice Will Be Served and subscribe and put alarm bell to join for that possible daily. Once a day we have that award giveaway. You could be the next one. So here it is, the mystery death, Grigory Rasputin, Romanov, as a tarot reading. Live. Here it is, attached. Let's check out this story again, guys. I'm going to introduce you to Rasputin life. Let me just put the time frame. This. Who was Grigory Rasputin? Grigory Yefimovich Rasputin, born 9 January 1869 and died December 30th, 1916. He was a Russian mystic. When you Google on the search tool, literally it show up the first thing in Wikipedia, Russian peasant, but he was a mystic and self-proclaimed holy man who befriended the family of Emperor of Russia, Tsar Nikolai II, and then gaining the confidential influence uh, towards the late imperial Russia with his own statement and so-called prophecies. Rasputin was born to a peasant family in Siberia, in a village of Pokrovskoye, of Tobolsk government area. I'm just going to remind you guys that Tobolsk was as well area that in the part 1 we saw the Romanov family was sent to Tobolsk in Siberia. That's very strange. And remember that literally if they were the part of literally responsible for the death of the same person, Grigory Rasputin, it seems like was a karma to put them in a prison directly from uh, the royal palace to Tobolsk in Siberia. So think about this. It's interesting. He had a religious conversation and experience after taking a pilgrimage to a monastery 1897. And since somehow he has been described as a monk, wanderer, or pilgrim. There is a Russian expression. I'm just going to try to pronounce it to Russian. Stranik is somebody who is. It seems like a strange wanderer, vagabond, I would say. Though he held no official position in the Russian Orthodox Church, he was proclaimed to be that monk, isolated, ascetic monk. Remember the tarot card hermit? Yes, we could call it a hermit as well. He traveled to St. Petersburg in 1903 on a winter of 1904 and 05, where he captivated some church and social leaders. He became a social figure with his charismatic personality and met Emperor Nicholas and Empress Alexandra in November 1905. In late 1906, he began acting as a healer for the imperial couple only son, Alexei. So Alexei, we remember that Nikolai had four daughters and one son. Alexei was the son name, and he was suffering from hemophilia. So seems like Rasputin at that period literally show up there, literally helping their son to survive, and he gained the trust of the royal family with this act, with saving the son Alexei life. He was divisive figure at the court, seen by some Russians as mystic, visionary, and prophet. And for some others that they were suspicious, he was just religious charlatan. The high point of Rasputin power was in 1915 when Nicholas II left St. Petersburg to oversee Russian army fighting the World War I, in increasing both Alexandra, his wife, the Empress Alexandra, and Rasputin influence because Alexandra, the Empress, stayed alone in the palace, and Rasputin, Grigory Rasputin, as a guru, self-made guru of this family, literally started to influence through Alexander, the empress, influenced the politics and uh, events in Russia during that First World War. Russian defeats mounted during this war year, and both Rasputin and Alexander they become increasingly unpopular. How there was bad news coming from the front that Russia is losing in this point uh, at the same year losing in the war. In the early morning of 30 December 1960, Rasputin was assassinated by a group of the conservative noblemen who opposed his influence over the royal palace, over the Alexandra and Nicholas. So we are going to see what happened. Yes, he was on a travel and the death row was during that travel. Wow. As well, it seems like he was accused of being a lover with the Empress as well. But this was just a teamwork. Accusation was coming just from a teamwork. As well, people didn't eventually. There was a fake accusation that he was a lover of the Empress, but eventually um, this was a fake um, insult for Empress due to his lifestyle, private lifestyle of Rasputin, that he was having like 400 ladies in his private life as well. On the other side, they were just afraid of his medium talent. And they as well wanted to judge the empress like these misogynist chauvinist people because Alexander was influenced with the Rasputin idea, the politics. And no man like this in any country. So let's see what happened. We are going to analyze this last day of uh, Rasputin life, and we're going to check was it the teamwork of the nobleman against Alexandra, the Empress, and Emperor Tsar Nikolai, or was it really the act organized by the Emperor Nicholas by himself? So we are going to check that energy as well. It's very strange the way um, he was killed. So we are going to check this energy as well. Let's see just the death of the Grigory Rasputin, the time frame. I'm going to repeat here. Here it is. What was happening that same night? During the murder of Grigory Rasputin on December 30th, 1916, I saw he was in a travel. His killer poisoned him first, then they shot him, and then he still survived, and then finally they drowned him in the local river on the minus degrees. And so, literally, by the doctors, he was literally pronounced that by drowning, not by poison, not by shooting, literally by the drowning. So, the mad monk simply refused to die. There was the expression. The death of a Grigory Rasputin, a man who proved to be seemingly unkillable, it's very funny because, like, they tried literally to poison him with the dinner. He has literally invited them to a dinner. And literally, the last person that he saw was, I do believe, his daughter. And there was a saying that he went off in the midnight to have, by invitations um, of the local noble person. And what happened eventually that same night, a group of noble people who feared the powerful holy man influence over the Russian royal family literally summoned him to the home of the one of the conspiracy guy, Prince Felix Yusupov, and began to execute this murderous scam. First, during that tea and cakes, they put a cyanide. During that tea, midnight tea time, they poisoned him with the tea and cakes that they were laced with the cyanide. But he showed no signs of distress. Yes, okay. As well, guys, do check up. There is execution by the emperor, as you see. Was this an emperor or Prince Felix Yusupov? We are going to see. I do believe that literally they were working for the emperor. But let me check up again, guys. Why the work card? Why the betray? Because he was literally their guests, right? And there is a proof for this that there is a proof, written proof that this was organized literally by the emperor. Was Nikolai the Tsar organizing the death execution of Rasputin? Seems literally that he was literally wanted to give a sign to his empress as well. Wow. As well, seems like they wanted to balance the power of the empress um, over the politics in Russia while the emperor was away on the front. So again, I'm going to ask, was the emperor Nikolai by himself organizing the execution of Rasputin? Was Grigory Rasputin organizing? No, he was advised, but he rejected as well. He was scared of him. He really believed into his talents when he saved his son Alexei, so he was scared to do it. I do believe that he was advised so many times and he rejected this idea, as he was afraid of him being a healer and a medium. So he was afraid that somehow he would be scared of his seeing through this, and he thought it's not possible to kill him. I do believe that the Tsar literally rejected the idea of killing him. This was organized of the Prince Felix Yusupov. Once again, I'm going to ask: was that the Prince Felix Yusupov the card? Yes. Wow. Look at Prince Felix Yusupov. Look at with this darkness team organize this lie, a trap. That's how I see it. And as you see, two more people. He was not the only one. It was just a pure strategy to bring him there. So when they put on his tea and cake the powder of cyanide, he didn't show no sign of distress. Then, as well, they put in a free glasses of the wine, the same poison, and yet he didn't have a sign of distress of poison. So by 2:30 a.m., because he arrived there at midnight, by 2:30 a.m. his dumbfounded killer huddled up in astonishment to figure out, pardon me, a new plan. This time, the bullets should work. That was the new plan. Yusupov then took out a revolver, told Rasputin to say a prayer, and shot him in the chest before leaving him for dead. When the assassins returned to a body later, Rasputin suddenly sprang up and attacked Yusupov before chasing his entire band of attackers into the courtyard, where they bludgeoned him and shot him several more times. But still, he wasn't dead. So suddenly they had to wrap him up and toss him into the freezing river, where he eventually succumbed to a hypothermia. That's not even the whole story of how Rasputin died. So as you see, so many bullets they didn't work, so many different poisons in the tea and drinks and the cake they didn't work. So they had to use the hypothermia and drawing into the frozen river of fertile December. So what was happening? Was he really aware that he's going? Was he really a medium? Could he really predict his own death? We're going now back reverse just to think about this act. It's very simple as well. One second. Let me just put the time frame, suspected timestamp. Sorry, guys. Yusupov, remember the Prince Yusupov that invited him at the midnight for that, what a weird time. He thought that he has to do some sudden emergency work for him, right? Like usually is that a healing or advice, because he was like a spiritual guru and a healer. So he literally said, I'm going to visit Prince Yusupov. Yusupov offered Rasputin that pastry, remember the cake, and soon Rasputin began gorging himself on cake that had been laced with cyanide, chosen specifically because they were known to be Rasputin's favorite cakes, so were the most likely to be eaten by him. Worried that the cyanide, which typically kills almost instantly, didn't seem to be working, Yusupov invited Rasputin to have a glass of Madeira, pouring the wine into one of several glasses that had also been laced with the cyanide. Rasputin declined the glass at first, but then Rasputin's gluttony for wine quickly won out, and he drank several glasses of wine from poisoned glasses. One of Yusupov's co-conspirator, a doctor, had prepared each dose of cyanide very carefully to ensure that everyone was strong enough to kill not just one but several men. Yusupov began to panic as Rasputin appeared to consume enough cyanide to kill scores of men, while as Rasputin started to have some difficulties swallowing wine, Yusupov uh, concerned and asked Rasputin if he was feeling ill. Yes, my head is heavy and I have a burning sensation in my stomach. Rasputin replied, before saying that more wine would be an adequate cure. Using a noise upstairs as an opportunity to excuse himself, Yusupov left the cellar to confer with his conspirators, who were shocked that Rasputin was still not under the effect of poison. Though they offered to go down as a group and strangle Rasputin to death, Yusupov decided that he should return alone and shoot Rasputin with the revolver. Upon returning, Yusupov found Rasputin slumping in his chair and struggling to breathe. Soon Rasputin appeared to recover and become more energetic. Fearing that the poison had failed, Yusupov stood up and paced the room to work up the nerve to shoot Rasputin. Rasputin stood up as well and appeared to admire the furnishing that Yusupov had brought down in the cellar. Seeing Yusupov stare at a crystal crucifix on the wall, Rasputin commenting on the cross, then turned away to look at an ornate cabinet on the other side of the room. Then Yusupov told, "You would far better look at the crucifix and say a prayer." At this, Rasputin turned to Yusupov for several tense moments of silence. He came quite close to me and looked me full in the face, said Yusupov. It was as though he had at least read something in my eyes, something he had not expected to find. I realized that the hour had come. Oh Lord, give me the strength to finish it. So here it is. Yusupov pulled out the revolver, firing one shot, hitting Rasputin in the chest, and Rasputin cried out and collapsed on the floor, where he laid in a growing pool of blood but did not move. So he thought that he killed him, and literally, alerted by the gunshot, the conspiracy team of Yusupov friends, they rushed downstairs. Dr. Chess Rasputin pulse found none, confirming the Rasputin was dead. They set establishing their cover story, separating into two groups. With Yusupov, it was Moika, with the Duma deputy Purishkevich. Before long, Yusupov started feeling uneasy. He excused himself and went back down to check the Rasputin body. It lay motionless exactly where they had left it, but Yusupov wanted to be sure. He shook the body and didn't see any sign of life at first. Then Rasputin's eyelids started to twitch just before Rasputin opened them. I then saw both eyes, the green eyes of a viper, staring at me with an expression of diabolic hatred. Rasputin lunged at Yusupov, snarling like an animal, digging his fingers into Yusupov's neck. He was struggling, fighting for his life. He wanted to literally strangle Yusupov. He had the strength still to do it. Yusupov was able to fight Rasputin off and push him away. He ran up the stairs, yelling up to Purishkevich, to whom he had earlier given the revolver. Quick, quick, calm down, he's still alive. So here it is. At that moment, Purishkevich joined him. Revolver was in hand. This devil who was dying of poison, who had a bullet in his heart, must have been raised from the dead by the power of evil, Yusupov wrote. There was something appalling and monstrous in his diabolic refuse to die. Rasputin shoved the door open and ran out in the courtyard. Wow, he was so strong even to walk and run away from this team of killers. Terrified of what would happen if Rasputin got away and returned to the Tsarina is the wife of Tsar Nikolai, the two men gave a chase. So they have a two more shots towards the Rasputin while he was trying to run away outdoor as well. One of the shots struck Rasputin in the head and he collapsed to the ground. Yusupov had two loyal servants wrap Rasputin's body in heavy carpets and tied with the heavy chains. They brought the body to the bridge over the Neva River and dumped it in an unfrozen patch of water below. After everything that had happened, he ultimately died of hypothermia in the freezing water. Guys, I'm just going to repeat once more. We're going to check you. You sent one of the questions. Was he alive or he was really dead? So we are going to check that as we are checking by tarot all these things. Shortly before he was shot in the cellar whilst he was still inside of the house. Rasputin, maybe knowing he was about to die, maybe just boasting, told Yusupov that he would ultimately prevail against his enemies who were plotting to kill him. The aristocrats can't get used to the idea that a humble peasant from Siberia should be welcome to the imperial palace. They are consumed with envy and fury, but I'm not afraid of you. Disaster will come to anyone who lifts a finger against me. As well, guys, there was a saying some time ago, before his this night of death of Rasputin, he could literally talk about his own death, violent death, being arranged, and he literally said, whoever is going to be involved in assassinating him, Grigory Rasputin, that same person family wouldn't survive longer than 2 years. So as well, when we think this was at 1916, and there is a question, very good mathematics, because 1918, exactly 1 year after the old royal family of Tsar Nikolai literally had that finished the history with their own assassin being organized by Bolsheviks. So was there a connection? His words would be so prophetic. As well, many things that he has before said on the court, literally being in a circle of these royalists and Tsarina, the wife of Tsar Nikolai Alexandria, many things really happened. In the hours after the assassination, what is happening here? I think again I have word that I have problem with. Do not laugh. Yes, it's funny. You can laugh. Yusupov, the Prince Yusupov, was filled with the hope that Rasputin death could literally put the strict measures towards the royal palace and cut the wing of the Alexander, the Tsarina Alexandra, the wife of Tsar. The country was with us, full of confidence in the future. The nation didn't like Rasputin connection and influence over the wife of Nikolai II. And we fought with the Rasputin death, we defeated the power of evil, and there was a golden hope for the future. So let's check again. Was Grigory Rasputin death organized by Tsar? Was Grigory Rasputin death organized by Tsar? Wow, look at guys. Finally, I'm getting the same message. Wow. Everything was like under the under the influence of media, and literally he was pushed. Emperor was pushed under the influence of media to literally cut the wings of the emperor's influence from the Rasputin ideas. As well, there was the proof of betrayal. There's definitely a proof that Emperor was behind the literally Prince Yusupov thing. Literally, Alexander, the wife of Nikolai II, knew that Yusupov, Pavlovich, and Purishkevich had killed Rasputin even before Rasputin's body was found, but she couldn't prove it. With their connection to the imperial family, the Tsarina's suspicions were enough to prosecute the man. All the Tsarina could do was convince the Tsar to exile the Yusupov and Pavlovich from St. Petersburg. Nothing more. So, what happened with Prince Yusupov? Yusupov soon grew disillusioned. That's a nice one. Is it a bad karma coming and hitting everybody like a curse from a Grigory Rasputin? For many years, Rasputin had by his intrigues demoralized the better elements in the government, had sown skepticism and distrust in the hearts of the people. Nobody wanted to take a decision, for nobody believed that any decision would be of any use. Without Rasputin to blame for the mismanagement and failures of the Russian state, the public could only blame the one person, and this time that was the Tsar Nikolai II. So nothing could stop, as you see, this was just postponed the revolution, but nothing could stop the revolution. The people were just literally holding with the chariot revolution that will happen in March 1917. So just think, guys. So December 1916 was his death of Rasputin, right? And in March 1917, only a few months after, is starting the revolution. Guys, there is a very nice photo that I'm going to attach to a cover page. I like this photo. Yes, the Last Supper of Rasputin. It's I'm going to attach that one. Yes. Again, guys, there is one more thing, one more question. I'm going to repeat. Was Princess Anastasia, because in part one we said that Princess Anastasia was a medium, was Princess Anastasia having a vision about Rasputin? Wow. Was Princess Anastasia having a vision about Gregory Rasputin's death? Yes. It seems, guys, that literally he kept her vision, observing everything. In the house, she understood what was happening. It was like a betrayal. Look at, there was people who were pulling the parties inside of the royal palace. For once, here explained, she was just watching. There were people observing them as well, seeing them like there were different parties. As you see, people being on one side of the Tsar and being on other side on Tsarina of Nikolai's wife's side, and her wise decision was just by knowing the truth, what will happen, seeing the polarization inside of the Russian royal court. Literally, she was just being clever by not saying this, just observing the situation. So, was Princess Anastasia once more a high priestess? Wow, it seems like it was too late. Whatever. It seems like it was too late as well. She was told from the family that literally she should keep her talent secret. Was Princess Anastasia aware who killed Rasputin? It seems like in the future she would ask and talk about this. Yes, it was bothering her if her family and her father organized this. Yes, definitely. As you see, I do believe that she was, as well, she was bothered with them, feeling that her mother has something to do with this guy, as you see, having affair, and she just hold it. But as well, in the future, she would return to this idea. Yes, snooping around, asking when it's too late after his death. I I I see her literally asking her family or her. She was scared to ask directly mama or father, but she would ask around the staff, the people around her. She would research. She would do that Snoopy job, right? Detective around, asking the staff, her nanny, asking the people around, simple people. She wanted literally to research, give it a second chance to research the death of Rasputin. But as well, she was holding the truth of knowing that she saw having affair, flirting with each other. I don't see directly affair, but I see a flirtiness in between. She felt the energy between Rasputin and Tsarina. That's what I see here. I don't see betrayal, but I see them flirting with each other. Was it the curse from Rasputin that hit the royal family eventually? Yes. I think, look at the card answer is betrayal. Yes. So it seems like a Romanov family, the father of Romanov family, I mean the Tsar, the last Russian Tsar, literally organized that betrayal of Rasputin. And seems that literally it's so clear that it seems that was so clear as well with this act of um, having a family in the same position after less than 2 years. Seems like that's a proof of by literally having organized the death of Rasputin after less than 2 years, having the whole family pulling down with the Bolshevik and the children as well. Seems like that was like a curse happening from a Rasputin. Because literally the one in the last year of his life, he was recalling whoever going to organize my death. I see my death is coming, being organized, and they're going to kill me. But whoever going to do this in less than 2 years after that same person, his family will be as well removed. So literally, that's what happened to a Romanov, all Romanov family. As well, I think the father of the Romanov family, I mean Tsar, literally he literally understood that this was a contract, like a karmic contract, and by saying literally, by literally sending the assassin, the killers, to execute him. This is my execution card, and these are my assassin card in my readings. Yes, he literally give them the job to do it, and uh, there is a proof for that. There's literally like a document about this. Was it somebody who was in this circle? Was it the prince that he was organizing the dinner and arranging the murder of Rasputin? Or there is a document, and the literally the history knows about arranged death by the documents. Just at that same period, they were literally afraid to talk about this in the period of the Tsar. Yes, the truth was hidden. That was a strategy, just waiting 2 years to pass and to see if the devil will work. Because as they have seen Rasputin as a devil, they thought that justice anyway is coming. If he was, his prophecy was always right, and he said, in less than 2 years, whoever had killed me, Literally, the same person and his whole family will suffer in less than 2 years, and that's what exactly happened. In less than 2 years, literally, the justice came. I mean, it came the result. Unfortunately, this royal family was doomed. Even without Rasputin, I'm going to repeat, even without Rasputin, the royal family of um, of Romanov was doomed, and everything finished 1918. So, guys, I'm going to attach now. Again, don't forget to check part one and part two of Romanov family as well. I'm going to attach here. Here it is. I'm going to attach as well. The timestamp is there. As well, here it is, the cover page with the Last Supper of Grigory Rasputin at Prince Yuskov. Guys, don't forget to check the playlist album Justice Will Be Served with all different stories, historical and modern, contemporary, celebrity readings, celebrity deaths, as well the missing people stories. Um, Check up as well the rest of the albums with rituals, 1111, Twinflame energies, of course, dating tips and family secrets. As well, Romanov history I'm going to put as well in the Family Secrets album and parallel with the Justice Will Be Served as a mystery that is somehow still unsolved. It's as well welcome any kind of comments or new traces you can attach in comments right later on when it's downloading this video. As well, guys, welcome the questions and any new. I'm open to continue talking about these mysteries of any of the Romanov members or friends of Romanov family. Anything connected to this case in future, we can go and make more videos if there is something intriguing for me to work on this. In this case, for Rasputin, we didn't use the ghost box, but in the future we can return for that thing. Somehow, it seems like I was advised, Spirit said not to do it. So here it is without the ghost box. That was the story of the Grigory Rasputin death as well. Scenes behind Prince who organized his supper and poisoning and killing and drawing all that night, 30th of December 1916. Is seen behind this was eventually Tsar Emperor Nikolai II by himself. And the result of this curse from the Rasputin that they are going to die, the same people who organized his death, that he really talked about the last year of his life in that 1916. He already talked about that the people who are going to organize his death, he really had a vision that these same people will finish their life in less than 2 years after he dies. And that's what happened to a royal family. They left, as we know, as we recall. If he died December 1916, the royal family died in July 1918, I believe so. So that's what really happened. It's one of the validation of him being a medium as well. I do believe he was I wouldn't call him a fraud, but his lifestyle with all these 400 women and visiting the borders and over drinking, his lifestyle seems literally uh, becoming a part of as well. Men hating him for having so many women around him, and all the women they were hypnotized with his spiritual talk, and as well somehow he would hypnotize women for this intimate part as well. like even the modern gurus are doing these days. And um, seems that as well with so many things that he literally had um, talked about, that he was somehow medium. Are we going to check that as well? Okay, let me see. Was Grigory Rasputin really a medium? Was Grigory Rasputin a medium? It seems like in his family, guys, I'm just going to say, I saw first something coming from the family room. Yes. And was it in a childhood? I just heard in the childhood and then literally regaining it later. Was Grigory Rasputin a medium? Was Grigory Rasputin medium? Was Grigory Rasputin a magician? Yes, guys, do check. He used the hypnotic method. Yes, there is a literally manipulation. He was literally using the hypnotic method to manipulate people, observing, watching him like a target. And it's a truth that he was using like a mind controlling game. That's what I see. Whoever would be in his surrounding, this person could, if he wants, he could make it as a target for the mind manipulation. That's what was his talent. Yes, literally. Look at, yes, taking it to an action. And yes, it's true what I said right now. As well, he never talked about this. It seems like it's a secret. Was he doing under the veil as well this? It seems like whatever was paranormal activities coming from his side with manipulative with the mind of others, literally, there was a mystery around this. Nobody talked about this. What was explaining the moon card? What was his secret? Wow. He could literally mesmerize. Wow, wow, wow. He could literally mesmerize the people, yes. And as well, was it the karmic cycle with 1111, with so many people around him, specifically women, as being manipulative, somehow hypnotizing them and using that sexual power over them? Seems so. He would sell the story of Twinflame soulmate energy to any woman as a look at as that manipulative person, like King wants it is. And since so many people have failed, and like these 400 ladies being his victim as well of sexual abuse, they are the proof of this theory as well. But that is on the bottom. There was the case as well, the case of the couple, royal couple, as you see, Tsar and Tsarina, his wife, and there was as well proof, literally proof of his manipulation, proof of betrayal as well. As well, since like there were people, the media, influence of the media, talking about, literally talking about while Tsar was away on the front, that there were the lovers on the in the royal palace, Tsarina and Rasputin, and that turned literally provoked him a death penalty. That's how it's said here. As well, guys, it seems weird because whenever I open these cards on the bottom, I see as well, I see a young member as well. I see all the time repeating the way. First Empress card and then the younger one of the princesses as well being his victim. Do check, guys. As you see, first we see here, remember there was a couple, Empress, 1 second, they mix it. Yes, so no, they're here. So Emperor here and Empress. And they found the proof as well that he was a lover with one of the daughters, and they didn't talk about this. There's the secret about him abusing one of the daughters. Yes, do check it. There was a proof, as you see. This is a proof of being lovers, one of the youngsters, and that was a pure betrayal. They kept it as a secret because they didn't want to make that advertise about their daughter being abused, but that's what totally happened. I'm going to repeat once more, explaining the page of Cup. This girl, young girl here, was that one of the princes of daughters of Nikolai II. Yes, guys, was Anastasia abused from was Anastasia abused from Grigory Rasputin. Wow, look at, and that literally provoked judgment as well. Was he try to abuse her and then she just literally ran away? As a medium and high priestess inside the Princess Anastasia, I do believe that she literally, yes, she postponed this. She postponed this by running away and telling to her parents. Very funny. Was any other princess, any other sister of Anastasia victim of sexual abuse from Rasputin? Wow, look at two more. Wow, wow, wow. Definitely, there was more than one person sexually abused in a royal family from Rasputin. This is a pure evil. Wow. He tried to do it, but as well, he would be rejected. Like, whatever he tried to do it, as well, he was rejected, I see, from Anastasia as well, from the second one. So, yes, there were two daughters of Nikolai, two family members of Nikolai family that little they rejected. As well, this put him in a position to literally to have a death penalty. Yes, that devilish energy inside of him. But I must say there was a big influence from Rasputin to all this royal family, and in general the energy around him. Like people were scared that this person cannot is immortal. As well, they were scared that he could um, see through if they approach him, even to try to catch him or arrest him or assassinate him. And I do think that the prince, literally Prince Felix, who organized his assassin night, literally he was daring. He was really daring. Was Prince a cousin of Nicholas II that organized the death of Grigory Rasputin? Uh, was he not scared of him? He didn't believe in these guys. He didn't believe in paranormal activities. Did he suffer a death as well? Wow, his whole family. Look at guys. As well, he became delusionist. That of what I saw, there was a mental state that he was put inside of this mental state after killing him. And this was respond. It seems like he was as well haunted with the spirit, I see, with the spirit visit of the Grigory Rasputin more than once. Yes. So that was clearing up as well idea about the rest of the suspected who were involved in the Grigory Rasputin death. We checked Romanov royal family, Tsar as um, a possible one, and as well the group of people who organized his death. The cousin of Emperor, right? where this literally happened at his estate, Prince Yusupov. As well, we check his energy as well. Guys, do check up. I have attached on the cover page literally Prince Yusupov and um, Grigory Rasputin sitting there eating things and the last supper of him where he was poisoned. Let's pray their spirits of all these people uh, that they have departed planet Earth, that they are now in a spirit, in a peace, and that literally they won't return here to have another kind of the second chance for experience the same thing of betrayal and mind manipulation like this happened in their life in the start of the 20th century in the Romanov period. So rest in peace, Rasputin and Romanov family, and welcome your comments under the video for the new question connected to Romanov family. As well, guys, check out the possible tarot readings list. Under the video is a full menu as well. On the live stream, you can pre-order. On the live stream, tarot questions are still on total discount. You can be a part of a giveaway as well. For the one who bring two new members, they're going to have a coupon for the free reading in the chat during the live stream. And the rest of people, put the alarm bell when you subscribe to see me 2 times a day in a live stream. And yes, once a day we have that giveaway, and you could be awarded one with the free mini chat tarot question answered in a live stream only. Kisses to all, peace and love.